Okay, so uh, let's unpack a phrase that sounds like it belongs in a quantum physics lecture, but is
What's
actually,
total shortcut to getting your life together?
right,
Yeah.
exactly, practical coherence, which sounds super abstract, but think about a laser versus a light bulb. A light bulb scatters energy everywhere, right? It's bright, but it's really weak.
Yeah.
But a laser aligns those light waves so they move together, and that same amount of energy can actually cut through steel. That is coherence. And according to this deep dive, most of us are operating like flickering light bulbs.
That is a perfect analogy. And our mission today is to figure out how to focus that beam for you
Yeah.
because we are moving way beyond the vague, new year, new me goal setting.
Oh, the ones that completely implode by mid-February.
Right. We need to look at the actual mechanics of why planning fails because it is not usually a lack of effort, it's a lack of alignment.
Yeah, and the text makes a distinction here that honestly hit me pretty hard. It says planning isn't about controlling the future, which, I mean, I've wasted years trying to wrestle the future into submission.
You and everyone else. But control is just an illusion. The material argues that real planning is really just about reducing unnecessary uncertainty. Try to control it and you get anxiety. Reduce uncertainty and you get clarity.
But there's a catch, right? Two things usually hijack this process before you even open your calendar: fantasy and fear.
Exactly.
I definitely fall into the fantasy trap. That's where I look at my day and assume I can, I don't know, write a novel, run a marathon, and cook a three-course dinner in 4 hours. I'm just lying to myself.
Right, because fantasy is when imagination replaces assessment. You're banking on a best case scenario that has literally never happened.
Never.
And then the flip side is fear, where you shrink your possibilities so much that you don't even attempt the things you actually could do. The sweet spot is what the source material calls realism without cynicism.
Which is a really tough balance.
Yeah.
Because usually when people tell you they're being realistic, they're actually just being negative. They're finding excuses to give up.
Yeah, well, that's the cynicism part. Cynicism assumes defeat to avoid disappointment. True realism just looks at the data. To get there, you have to do something really uncomfortable. You have to separate preference from evidence.
Oh, man. Okay, so my preference is that traffic won't exist today. The evidence is that it's 5 p.m. on a Tuesday.
Precisely. Dishonesty starts internally. We confuse what we want to be true with what is demonstrably true. And you cannot build a stable plan on a distorted perception.
Fake inputs equal total chaos.
Exactly. If your inputs are fake, your output is chaos.
Okay, so let's say I strip away the fantasy. I'm being realistic. I have my internal act together. But then I step out the front door, and the rest of the world is definitely not coherent. The text uses this wild term that stopped me in my tracks: the brave peace facer.
It is a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, it sounds like a literal translation or an indie band name or something. But the concept behind it is actually fascinating.
It really is. It's the answer to the sheep mind. The sheep mind just follows collective consensus without evaluating it, just doing what everyone else does because it's safe.
While a rebel just fights consensus to be different.
Right. But the brave peace facer evaluates the collective without hostility.
That's the peace part. You aren't just rebelling to be a jerk. You're asking, does this norm actually align with the evidence?
It's disciplined discernment. It is about maintaining your agency. You accept the limits of the situation. Maybe your boss is chaotic or the market is crashing, but you don't surrender your choice. You ask, given these conditions, what is the most effective next step?
Which connects right back to the methodology. If you're constantly evaluating reality instead of fighting it, you need a system that adapts. The text talks about a feedback loop.
The act, observe, adjust loop. But the key here is the speed. Rigid plans collapse because they don't allow for observation. Coherence is adaptive. You take a small action, you honestly observe the results, stripping away that preference again, and then you adjust.
So results aren't magic. It's not manifesting destiny, it's compounding alignment.
Compounding alignment, consistently aligning your actions with the evidence over and over again. That is how the laser cuts the steel.
So for everyone listening, this isn't just theory. Practical coherence is about stopping that internal dishonesty. It's separating what you want from what is.
Catching it at the source before it leaks out into your plans.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to chew on today. What is one preference regarding your own life that you are currently treating as evidence? And how would your plan change right now if you looked strictly at the data?
That is the question that changes everything.
Thanks for diving in with us.